What's up, dudes? It's my first video. This channel's pretty much just me spitballing autistic rants and just things that I find cool, you know. Today's subject is more related to tools. And what do you mean by tools? Well, I mean things that you use for making your life easier. Your phone, your whatever. Yesterday I bought a diary because when I say a diary, it's more of like an object that I can write down and remember checklists or whatever. And I realized that every time I would try to use my phone as a notebook or a notepad or a task to-do list thing, I would use it for a couple days and I just wouldn't give a shit about it after. Like, I would really tunnel in and set like the whole yeah, I'm gonna link my to-do list with the reminders and like all that, autistically just configure everything, and then eventually it just didn't click. And my thought process is always scrambled. I have all these ideas or whatever that I might get, and they just end up going nowhere because I forget them later on. I never wrote them down, and I couldn't be fucked to write them down on my phone. And I believe that is because of the nature of the device itself. It does everything to the point where your mind can't separate these individual features from one another, and you just see it as one big... It's kind of like the concept of shitting where you eat, or eating where you shit. And I also noticed this when I was working from home. And man, I love video games, right? I grew up playing them. Pretty nerdy guy. So ever since I was working from home, I realized that I stopped finding video games fun anymore because it was the same thing. I was shitting where I ate, and I'm working on my computer that I use. Like I'm using the computer that I work on, which made entertainment media also feel like a chore, because it's like, oh, I'm sitting in the same spot doing the same thing. And it's very difficult to have that. And a lot of times this is subconscious. You might not actively notice it, but your brain clearly is desensitized, or I don't know what the right term to use is, man, but it clearly, your brain is telling you something, that it's tired of that same thing. And sure, it's a different, you're not doing the same thing, but you are like at the same place, and it's just very difficult to separate. You really need that separation. And I believe this is the same reason why iPods have gotten so popular lately. Everyone's trying to get an iPod or, you know, a Walkman. The reason being is because, sure, and I don't mean to like shit on modern advancements. We have some, like, let's be real here. You don't want to you don't want to make your life hell by working with, I don't know, let's say you bought an iPod and you got to deal with the fact that it has a separate cable, and it might not work with modern devices like Bluetooth, or I don't know, I could be wrong, but I've never owned one before, but I'm just assuming. But I'm 100% sure that a lot of it won't work with linking it with modern tech. Anyways, that's besides the point. Or maybe like the battery, it's difficult to replace, and maintenance of the device is not feasible, realistically. But I think what people miss most is the tactileness of it all. Having to hold something and that is dedicated to that one task, where you make a conscious effort to do this thing, and you're able to interact with it. Like, you know, your monkey brain really likes being able to push buttons and have that tactile feedback, which unfortunately modern tech does not give us. I felt like the peak era of smartphones, well, it's debatable, but Blackberries, man, that shit was cool. You had a modern device which had a QWERTY like button layout keyboard. That stuff was awesome. And the fact that now all our phones are devoid of Like, there's no alternative. Everything is just a touchscreen brick, which is pretty much useless without any, like, you can't repair it easily by yourself. Everything is just so much more abstracted away from what it's supposed to be. Like, could you imagine just trying to fix something? Like, you drop your Nokia phone, maybe sure you'd bust the battery up or the case up, and you could always fix it yourself. Even sure, you could just literally duct tape it together and it would work, right? That's probably a very crude fix, but it's still fixable or repairable, whatever. Try doing that with a smartphone, where they unnecessarily try to find ways to make it harder to repair. Like, all these advancements and tech is for nothing if it's strictly locked on purpose. This is why I feel like we really need to find a way to bridge the best things that we had from the previous era and somehow work them into with the modern advancements. Like, I'm not a big fan of, oh yeah, let's go back, like everything was better back then. Like, yeah, we had our limitations back then, but we can definitely have a middle ground where we can enjoy the benefits of modern advancement, but still retain the tactileness of what we had before. So buying this journal helped a lot with separating that thing, and I actually feel like this is something that I can go to. I have this one dedicated thing to. It doesn't have a battery. It doesn't have it works out of the box. It's never gonna fail. And it has a personal touch to it too, where it doesn't have to be perfect. I know, I sure as hell don't. People go crazy with their planners. I couldn't I just want a place that I could just jot down reminders, ideas, just a one-size-fits-all thing. I also use it as a wallet as well. It's a small passport-sized thing, and just found in it like an attachment that it's very modular, so you can put in whatever attachments to make it however you want. But yeah, man, it's just, we really need to roll a few things back, man. It's even been trying to switch to Arch Linux once again. I used to use it before, but since the nature of my work, I'm a 3D artist, by the way. So as a 3D artist, it's really difficult to work with Linux because some applications don't really translate well. Things like Unreal Engine or Photoshop, or, I'm more than happy to switch. I mean, I don't use Photoshop, I use Affinity Photo, and I need to look into how that translates into Arch Linux, but yeah, I've been trying to de-bloat a lot of corporate spyware off my PC, telemetry, or just trying to find alternatives to big tech companies like Adobe or Autodesk. But unfortunately, the free software versions of those things don't necessarily fit a more professional standard, unfortunately, which I wish they did. But the best thing I can do right now is dual boot. And what I'm doing is I'm keeping my workstation Windows strictly workstation. I'm using a debloated MicroWin, which was something that Chris Titus Tech, our YouTube channel, a great guy, had out, and I'm using that. It basically strips away things like OneDrive and Copilot and all the bullshit that Microsoft ships with. All these ads and pop-up ads like, oh, why just use Edge, oh my god, it's the best. It keeps shoving that shit, the Microsoft 365, all of that. And oh my god, don't even get me started on the freaking start menu or whatever that thing is, where it just shoves a bunch of news articles in your face and ads and Candy Crush. Anyways, that gets rid of all that for you. And that's what I have on my NVMe. And I purchased another NVMe, which is pretty much just for my root and boot directory for Arch, and a home directory is a hard drive that I purchased, 2 terabytes recently. And yeah, a lot of my time is going into setting my Arch installation up. So that's been going well. Man, it's so crazy though. It's like I've been spending all my weekends just tinkering for hours, and it's like 7-8 hours pass by, and it's like, holy fuck, it's dark out, and all I've been doing is that. But I've also been trying to get back into skateboarding as well. So every time I'm going outside, I'm trying to see if I can get my skateboard out. Just a lot of it's difficult to juggle all these like different interests and or just, I don't know what you would call it, but hobby, interest, whatever. But yeah, write shit down really helps, especially if you're like me. You know, I don't know, ADHD, whatever. People, I've never been diagnosed, but I clearly always struggle with simple day-to-day stuff like that. But it's really nice to have systems for yourself where you, instead of numbing yourself with, well, I personally believe that I would not like to take the route of medication and instead develop systems where, because medication is only putting a band-aid to a problem. What if society collapses, or what if something happens and you don't have this medication? Are you just gonna like be a victim to Darwin's law? Or is that you wouldn't want that to happen? You wouldn't want something to be like, you don't want to rely on other things to fix, or not even fix, to like maintain yourself. You want to make sure that you have total control of your life, and the way you do that is to strive to create systems that work for you. Creating systems is so important, and everyone has their own thing, and it's something that you just need to do without trying to think too much about it. Just do it, and it might not work, and if it doesn't, then try something else. But defaulting to, and I'm not trying to like be that guy that it's like, oh my god, medication's cringe. Some people really do need it because their situation is totally different. But I'm speaking for the vast majority that try to just reach out to medication without even trying to develop a system for themselves and trying to see if that would work. But yeah, that's about it. I want to see you guys.